All right, so we're here at the 2023 National Storm Chaser. Hold on. I got to check my levels here. All right, 3, 2. So we're here at the 2023 National Storm Chaser Summit, and we're here with Eddie Aldrine, who's EMA director.
Yeah, director.
Here in Oklahoma.
In Kansas.
All right, I fucked that up already.
It's okay.
I thought you were in Oklahoma.
No.
Are you right across the border?
No,
Or
I'm
you're
like as
deep in?
far from Oklahoma as you can get.
Okay,
Kansas.
I didn't think you had to go that
I'm
far
right
to
on the
get here.
Nebraska border.
3, 2. So we're here at the 2023 National Storm Chaser Summit with Eddie Aldrine, who's an EMA director up in Kansas. I had a great talk yesterday about safety, storm chaser safety. It was really good. Jen?
It was incredible. And so I think one of the biggest things when it comes to storm chasing is you get that tunnel vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get in the zone and it's just like, you got to get the storm and you don't think about your own safety, let alone the safety of others. And so what is like, probably your top 3 tips for when it comes to storm chasing?
Well, the first thing is always be prepared. I mean, that's not only with the supplies you have, but the knowledge you have. There's so many times that I've seen chasers out in my position now as a EM director, but also when I was in law enforcement, you'd have people chasing out there that don't have the knowledge to stay safe.
Yeah.
So one thing in my talk yesterday that I really want to hit on is learn, learn, and learn. There's endless possibilities of weather knowledge that you can have. So always continue to learn as much as you can. Also, I always would chase with just myself, but having that second person in there, that way they're keeping you on track. I've been in some pretty hairy situations where I've gotten really close because I wasn't paying attention either to driving or to a tornado just because I was thinking of other things in the car. So having that tunnel vision, always not being on the prize, but also being aware of your surroundings would help out quite a bit.
So how does being a storm chaser help you being an EMA director, especially during those, extremely severe events where there's multiple storms, multiple tornadoes, maybe all on the ground at the same time? How does that help you?
Yeah. So the forecasting part's helped me out quite a bit. I'll even have EMs from across the state, even out in Western Kansas, that are calling me that day, asking me, hey, what's going to happen today? What are your thoughts? Things of that sort. So the forecasting's always helped. Also, when something is on the ground, knowing how it's going to act, like knowing which way it's going to go and things of that sort, it's helped out quite a bit. And it's helped me create plans, disaster plans, which is a big part of emergency management. Knowing how storms operate and what to look for and things of that sort have really helped out with the job.
I love that. And then I have one more question before Phil asks some questions. But when it comes to storm chasing, what is that one like forecasting tip or something that you've learned like, wow, I blew that storm. I missed that storm because I didn't look at this or I didn't do this. Like what's the tip to give to new storm chasers that are trying to get out there?
And I still have a hard time with it now. When I was a newer storm chaser, I wouldn't look at the upper level winds, and with storm motion, that's big. So
yeah,
I would always just look at the little bottom part of like a sounding, or I wouldn't look at those 500 millibars, 300 things of that sort. And that really hurt my chances on seeing stuff that time. So with the new chasers, I'd say don't look just at the ground. You have to look at the whole storm because that'll give you a better idea of how it's going to operate and things that you can expect in it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't have any questions because I asked them all when we got together last time. So we did. I don't know if you're aware, but we've done. We recorded storm chaser safety tips. With Eddie and Eric and another person maybe you haven't met yet, but
it was a lot of fun.
And we recorded probably like 15 of those. So we've been playing those for the last, I think we're on maybe 4 or 5 so far. But anyway, so I asked a ton of questions with those guys then.
I have more questions then. If you don't have any questions, let's keep going.
That's fine. Yep.
Have you chased hurricanes or is it strictly tornadoes?
Just just tornadoes, because working in law enforcement, I can't take off a whole week to go
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
And being from Kansas, it takes a while to get down there. But it's always something I've wanted to do. I want to see the stadium effect inside an eye wall, but
Mhm.
especially now being an EM, I'm definitely not going to be able to get away
Yeah.
like that. But hopefully someday, maybe when I retire, I can go down. But
Do they do any kind of reciprocity where the county might send you down? I know that
Well-
in Ohio, our Butler County EMAs actually went down this past.
yeah, so
fall.
there's a deal in Kansas, and it's in the process of changing names, but it's the IMT, the Incident Management Team.
Mhm.
So that's what your friend would do.
Yeah. Okay.
Say like with Greensburg back in 2007, a lot of the EMs from counties that weren't affected were sent down there to help out, to help with the recovery process and response process. And that would be something.
Okay.
You can either do that in the government work like I work in, or the private sector too. That's where you make the big bucks, being contractor like with FEMA and things like that. But yeah, it's something like that. The incident management team or incident support team, which is what we're going to in Kansas.
Got it.
It's interesting. So I live in Atlanta, and one of the interesting things about Atlanta is we have our own like mini tornado alley, which
Yeah.
is like southwest of the city,
Uh-huh.
where we look at the different elevation change, right? You know, with terrain enhancement.
Mhm.
Is there anything like that in Kansas or Nebraska or surrounding areas where you're just like, obviously you're in Tornado Alley, but is there like a specific feature or location where it's just like, no matter what, when a storm rolls through there, it
Mhm.
tends to spawn tornadoes?
Well, it's not a spot that, or a terrain feature that I can pinpoint that it does, but it seems like the southern end of Wichita
Mhm.
always gets it. It starts there in Hayesville, goes up through Andover. I mean, we had the one in 1991, I believe it was, the big Andover F5.
Yeah.
And then just this past April, we had another tornado go through that Reed got the awesome drone footage of.
Yeah.
It's just something down there. It seems like it just tracks, but there's nothing I can pinpoint
It's
and
just,
say this is what's causing it. But it seems like that place is always under the gun.
oh, that's so interesting. And then really quick, when it comes to being an EMA director, what is like the most difficult thing when communicating a threat to the public and something that you wish that obviously we want them to be safe and take cover, but
Mhm.
what's like your number one top struggle?
People actually taking the warnings seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, we know this part of the country, when the sirens go off, you never go to the basement. You always have to go outside and look.
Yeah.
And that's what happened in Joplin, why so many people were killed.
Wow.
Not only that it was right on top of them when they went outside, but there was desensitization to the sirens just because they were sounded, and it was kind of like crying wolf so much. So people, well, sirens are going off, I'm not going to do anything about it.
Yeah.
But then also going outside, and the tornado was already bearing down them at some point that they couldn't really get to their shelter at the same time. So it's, people are just so used to that weather out here that they don't really take it seriously and say, well, it'll never happen to me. That's a big deal where I live, is it's never happened.
Yeah.
It'll never happen to me. So it's just people don't take things seriously when they really should.
Yeah. Oh, I completely understand that. I think that's the biggest struggle for any meteorologist or anybody working, trying to give warnings and everything.
Right.
So one last thing, what's the biggest tornado you've ever seen?
So I haven't seen an EF5 yet.
Okay.
The Langley tornado, which was April 14th, 2012, with that super outbreak that day. I spoke about it on my presentation yesterday, but it was on the ground for over 40 miles. It was an EF4.
And you followed it the whole time?
Yeah. So I followed it. It was a lot of your listeners probably don't know where it's at, but it started out just east of Lyons, Kansas, which is northwest of Wichita, southwest of Salina. Tracked northeast for 40 miles. So everyone was on it, chasing it. So there's a lot of photos of it, but it lifted just northwest of Salina. A new meso started east of Salina, and then set down 3 more tornadoes after that. So
wow,
it was a pretty gnarly storm, but no one died in it. I think just a few farmhouses were affected, but that's a pretty rural area out there. So I think that helped.
Good.
Help that.
Interesting. Very cool. And then I've storm chased a lot in Kansas, but do you have a favorite hot spot storm chaser spot bar that you'd recommend storm chasers to check out? There are some like weather themed places.
Yeah. I can't think of any themed places, but it seems like we always ended up like at a Buffalo Wild Wings or something. we were always starving at the end of the day because you never have time to eat.
Yeah. You're just
Because
going.
the storms are going right at dinner time, so
Yeah.
you're never eating dinner until after 9-10 o'clock. But
This is true.
Whatever's open at that point.
yeah, sometimes you're just having to eat some gas station food. But
I've done that before.
yeah, it seems like Buffalo Wild Wings we were always stopping at, but it's a favorite for guys my age. So
It's a good place. It's a
Yeah.
good place. I
Cool.
love it too.
Thanks, Eddie.
yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Perfect. Yay.